This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Mike's hot, guys.
Welcome to The Drive. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and here we are.
There we are.
Our final
Sole
day.
survivors.
Yeah, our final day here at the NFL meetings. Well, can we really say we're still at the NFL? We're at the site of the NFL meetings.
We're in a hallway in a hotel.
At the Ritz here at Ritz-Carlton
yes.
in Orlando, where the meetings just wrapped up yesterday, and we're still here. So we're going to kind of give the aftermath, the eulogy.
Yeah, there are some prominent NFL figures still here, as the traffic going by might have indicated. There's still some people, some remnants floating around.
Oh, I mean, I could spend some time here just hanging out.
I'll chill here. Yeah, there's no doubt.
It's not a bad spot.
Yep, this is our last day headed home.
Yep.
There you have it.
There you go. So the Steelers
made a little acquisitions.
Yeah, they were busy.
Together.
So yesterday morning, the league passes the new kickoff rule.
Right.
Yesterday afternoon, the Steelers the Steelers didn't announce it, but it was announced via social media.
Right.
The Steelers have made an agreement with Cordero Patterson, who is the all-time NFL leader in kick return touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
with nine.
Most ever. I think he's the best kickoff returner ever. I know Devin Hester, we didn't agree with.
Punt
West went in the Hall of Fame, but he is much more of a punt returner. But they have similar careers, to be honest with you. They're unbelievable with the ball in their hands. Neither one really hooked on as an offensive player. Hester, they even tried to make a corner for some reason. They just couldn't figure out what to do with him. But Patterson, to Arthur Smith's credit,
he unlocked a little something with him.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, he turned him into on offense, turned him into a running back first. And, he came in the league as a receiver. And if you want to see something crazy, go YouTube his Tennessee highlights. They're bonkers. I mean, It's just him with the ball just making the SEC look silly. But he's a phenomenal kickoff returner. He's going to be your running back 3, I would assume, which is a high-end number 3.
Yeah.
He's pass protected. He's been around the league. He's had some success. He's going to be your jet sweep guy, things like that for sure. Probably can help the receiver room a little. He's not a real diverse route tree guy at this stage, but he's considered a high character guy, great locker room dude. I think he runs down on punts, too. I'm not sure about that.
He's 33 now. He's probably not going to do a lot of that.
It might be kind of like the Patrick Peterson signing in a way.
Yeah.
Like he's somewhat of a legend at what he
does.
If
you had to, yeah.
But, I think it's just a ringing endorsement of, first off, this kickoff rule matters. I'm sure that they've been chatting with him all along, and Arthur Smith has a relationship with him, of course. But as soon as it got passed, boom, you go get the best kickoff returner in the league. And that, coupled with spending money on a punter, shows me that special teams is highly, highly important to this team.
Yeah, and they always have been. It's just,
true.
Sometimes things happen, and,
not every team spends money on teams,
the Presley Harvin stuff. I know a lot of fans. Well, he was awful. He was terrible. If you've listened to this show on a regular, when we were at training camp the last couple of years, watching Presley Harvin punt at training camp, there would be no way you wouldn't think that guy was going to be one of the best punters in the league.
Or that he would have any trouble making the team.
Yeah.
That's
just
our guy, right.
70-yard kick after 70-yard kick after 70-yard kick.
Ball sounded and looked different coming off his foot than other punters.
Yeah,
too,
Yeah. But no, so you look at it, this is a guy who has been a 4-time first-team All-Pro.
As a special team
guy. Yeah. 2-time second-team All-Pro. This is
he's a weapon.
He's a weapon.
He is.
He was almost his first season in the league. He's offensive. He's third in voting for offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah. The Vikings drafted him in the first round. He's an unbelievably dynamic player coming into the league, and they would just get him the ball any way they possibly could. The whole world was abuzz with this guy, and kind of like a Percy Harvin Vikings type of role. Just get him the football, ends arounds, hand it to him, whatever, throw him quick screens. And I still think he has those qualities, maybe not as dynamic as that. Like I said, his Tennessee tape is unbelievable. But just the returner, the insurance at running back, another wrinkle to the offense. And this coupled with the Watkins signing and more receivers to come, I'm not sure where Calvin Austin fits in as much anymore. You know, like, he's not going to be the number one returner.
He'll be the number one punt returner.
He'll be the number one punt returner. You know, I mean, he's smallish for the blocking that Arthur Smith wants. All of a sudden, you kind of have Van Jefferson and Watkins, who to me are on his level. Like, I'm not saying they're going to cut him, but I don't know that any of these moves in the last couple of days scream Calvin Austin's the answer.
Well, and nor should he be considered. I mean, he's heading into year 3. And, you know, he's played one season, and, you know, he did a couple of nice things, but overall, you're not guaranteed a spot.
No, so he's not guaranteed a spot.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, him and Patterson aren't the same. It's just that over the course of these 2 days, I think put a little heat on him.
Yeah. You know, I've seen some people speculate, what does this do for Najee and Jalen Warren? Nothing.
Oh, I think nothing.
Nothing. This does not affect them one iota.
And I don't know if they would have, but I think you don't use a late pick on a running back now. I mean, it's kind of like the Allen signing at quarterback.
I mean, effectively, both of their return guys from last year, Godwin Igwebuike and Anthony McFarland, are no longer with the team. So you just replace those guys.
And upgrade them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, because of the kickoff rule, you spend a little bit money on a kickoff returner, field position. Again, it goes back to the punter as well. I mean, you're not going to blow people's doors off and win 35-0. I mean, you're going to have to win in the margins, and, you know, I'm sure the quarterback play will be different this year. It'll bring more big plays, but still, they want to run the ball, play defense, play field position, and Patterson and a punter, Johnson, help.
Yeah, so, you know, you've got a guy that in 2021 rushed for 618 yards.
Yeah.
That
was him and Algier there before Robinson. I was thinking 22. I'm sorry.
22 is then it was he and Algier. He had 695 yards, that being a career high. Now last year they bring in Bijan Robinson, and he only gets 50 carries. So it's a little bit different last year.
Which is still a decent workload for a number 3 running back.
Yeah.
I mean, he might get 50 carries here behind Warren and Harris, too. Who knows?
And, you know, a guy that, again, in 2021 caught 52 passes for 548 yards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as a running back goes, he's a very good receiver. I mean,
it's a matchup issue.
Yeah, came in the league as a wide receiver. I'm like, if you go, the Vikings went to the podium and said wide receiver, Cordell Patterson from Tennessee. And we knew he was going to be like a Treylon Burks or a guy that was going to be a work in progress as a route runner.
They should try to have his kind of career.
Yeah,
those guys.
Absolutely.
You know,
but I mean, even a Burks isn't as twitchy and dynamic as Patterson was. I mean, he was Gumby with his movements coming out. He was an odd bird.
Yeah,
I mean,
a physical, tough runner, runs through tackles. And
you would think he'd be an outside zone, pitch guy. He'll hit it up there. He's a big guy. He's not. I mean, I mentioned Austin. Him and they don't look anything
like.
He's 220 or something like that. Yeah.
And the thing is, when you line a guy up like that in the backfield, he's going to get a linebacker.
Most often, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, unless the team really wants to, we got to dedicate a safety or something to that guy coming out of the backfield. Well, that's a win for the offense, too.
Yeah, and I would think he's, again, I haven't watched all of his offensive tape, but watched him a lot as a running back the last couple of years. I would think he's more than capable of, okay, we're coming out in 12 personnel, and he's the back with 2 tight ends. And you get base. Well, I think he could split out the slot and run receiver routes, or go outside the numbers and run goes. And out of empty.
He was a fantasy league winner.
Oh yeah,
in 2021, he was like a cheat code.
Yes.
Because nobody drafted him.
No.
And then if you picked him up after the first couple of weeks of you got 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns.
He was unbelievably productive at the end of that season. I mean, it was like like a 10-game stretch where he just went crazy.
He just went bonkers. Yeah, just went bonkers. And
so he's very talented.
And again, I think you're 100% right. There's no coincidence there that they signed him, after that punt return rule or kick return rule.
Right, of course.
I mean, he's 3 times he's led the league in kick return average. 2 other times he's led the league in total kick return yards.
He's the best kick returner ever.
Yeah, and again, the 9 kick return touchdowns is an NFL record. The Steelers haven't had a guy lead the league in kick return average since.
Oh, I have no clue.
Rod Woods in 1989.
Wow. I don't even remember.
Been a while.
I remember him turning punts. I didn't remember him returning kicks.
Yeah.
It's quite a while.
That's been a while.
It's been a while.
And Patterson is that kind of athlete, not quite to the Woodson's level.
Young Patterson
was in the neighborhood.
He's 32, right?
33. Yeah.
33.
He'll be 33. Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the normal wear and tear of a 33-year-old running back.
No, because he's been
he's a
mostly
specialty player.
Yeah. And so, Again, Arthur Smith was able to unlock that a few years ago, and they've been together. The other
definitely his best offensive seasons were with
Arthur Smith
as a running back.
Yeah, the other thing that does is it gives you another guy who can kind of help teach the offensive guys, your playmakers.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's what we're doing. Here's what coach is looking for on this play,
on this route concept.
Because he's played running back, he's done some wide receiver stuff. He can kind of be that guy that they can lean on, and he's got the gravitas. These guys all know who he is.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's like this is almost like signing Patrick Peterson.
I was say it really reminded me of that. I mean, I don't think Cordero Patterson's in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, it is kind of a end of career, respected, really good locker room guy. People knew who he was before he walked in the building, and carried a big stick with him too. So I love this.
He had 4 kick return for touchdowns in his first 3 seasons. That's 2013, 14, and 15. Mm-hmm. For most of the guys in this locker room, that's probably right around when they
were playing Madden.
Yeah, they were in high school, or they were just and you're watching games. This guy's really good.
Oh, he was a human joystick type of guy. And I don't play Madden, but I assume he was a fun Madden player. I mean, because his skill set translated to the game.
You wonder how, because I used to do this way back when I still played, those video games. I always played with the Lions.
Okay.
Because I could have Barry Sanders.
Sure.
But then I could also the return guy that they had, Mel Gray.
Mel Gray, yeah.
If you put Mel Gray in the backfield, nobody could catch him.
Because
he was better than Barry Sanders.
It's too elusive.
He just hit the speed button and get to the outside. You're getting 30 yards.
Yeah. No, so I think Patterson's a great signing. I mean, it sounds like, again, this is not official, but it's like 2 years, $6 million is what's been reported. Fine. I mean, he's going to help in many areas.
I mean, it's probably effectively a 1-year deal.
I would bet that's the way
that he gets. The money kicks in next year.
Yeah.
That you can easily move on.
In a way, he kind of saves you a roster spot too. He's
because he can do multiple things,
he can get you out of a game as a receiver. He's your number 1 returner. So, no, I think there's value there.
Absolutely, and that's the kind of move that Omar Khan is.
Last couple of days, doing a
little
crafty
he's starting to get an MO here of signing these guys who are bottom of the roster guys, but can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, and they've been around the league, and they have, they've been in stadiums, as coach says, and you
performed at a high level, and
and they're NFL quality professionals. They're not.
And again, have some value to their name, and have been guys that have started. Armani Watts started a lot of games in his career.
Absolutely,
he was kind of like, they signed him. It's the same thing
with Lowry.
Yeah, with Lowry, he started a lot of games in the league.
Yep. And maybe you're not Aaron Donald, most aren't, but if you can hold your own while Cam gets a break or whatever, there's a lot of value there.
You can give me 20 quality snaps, and I don't have to worry about I know that they're going to be steady snaps. There's not going to be the variance of a younger player.
He's going to have some good, some bad, but he probably won't blow the game up from a good or bad perspective. Great. I mean, you're an inning eater. I mean, that stuff's important. And as we always talk about too, it lessens the pressure on you on draft day of I have to get one of these guys, or I'm fine with where we're at.
It is a shallow defensive tackle.
It is, and I wouldn't want to be in the returner world, slash running backs at this stage either. So no, I like what they've done.
Absolutely.
And even Allen is a professional number 3. I mean, he's been kind of miscast as not miscast, but he's often been a 2. Well, he's not a great 2. He's fine, but as a 3, he's really good. He's been on the block.
Kyle Allen, Wes Watkins. I mean, I don't ever remember the Steelers signing or coming to terms with 4 guys during the owners' meetings.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, like a 2-day stretch.
You look at Mike Tomlin's in meetings, Omar Khan's in meetings, Art Rooney II's in they're all in meetings.
Oh yeah,
and you're getting these deals
and
done.
All the media stuff. Yeah, and all the just the owners' meetings and the dinners and stuff like that too. Their phone must be blowing up left and right. Do they sleep at all?
That's right. I did ask Omar. I'm like, "Do you sleep? You sleep at this thing, or you've been pretty busy?"
Yeah, this is being pulled a lot of directions.
Yeah, and he has his family here.
Ooh. I don't know if that's a good move or not.
Well, they were off at the amusement parks,
right?
So
I'm sure they know Daddy's not going to be throwing him around the pool or hanging out with Shamu. But yeah.
Anyways, let's get to a break. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here in Orlando at the Ritz-Carlton, where the league meetings just wrapped up yesterday. You can also watch the show on YouTube. This will be the last day that we are on YouTube until, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll do draft stuff. Who knows? But you can check out
something between here and there.
Yeah, you can check out all the Steelers content on the Steelers channel on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to that. All kinds of great stuff on there. One-on-ones with basically everybody that gets signed. You can go check out the Russell Wilson one-on-one on there as well, and there's just all kinds of great stuff that the Steelers staff puts out on there.
Mock draft triple take stuff coming up.
We'll have some more of those
already in the book.
We'll shoot another one of those soon, and we got a little wrinkle coming up in that as well. So that little teaser there for that. But we're gonna take a break. We'll be back with more on the drive right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Mics are hot.
Welcome back. He is Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. This is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio, your home for all things Steelers. And we are here in Orlando at the NFL meetings, which wrapped up yesterday. Everything else wrapped up around us here yesterday as well. But it's also, now that this is over, Matt, it's time to start seriously digging in to the draft.
Oh, heavily. And
that was one of the things that Art Rooney said yesterday. He's like, well, now that the meetings are over, we can start focusing more on the next step in the process.
I mean, for example, LSU Pro Days today, you said off the air, and a lot of big ones have happened already. I'm sure these scouts are hitting it heavy and really finalizing each report, and they're going to present it to the team.
The visits will start heating up here.
Yeah, and some of those have been announced. Some are under the radar at this point, are hard to find, but you will start to find the visits. That's huge. And then it's not going to be long before they get every scout in the building and really build their boards. I mean, just crawl away in the cave and spend a good 2 weeks or so just building their final draft board. That doesn't mean you still can't make trades and make signings like they did the past 2 days. But my hunch is when they made those 4 signings in 2 days, it's just kind of so we don't have to worry about those stuff for a while.
Taking care of the bottom end of your roster, and again, these guys are
cleaning.
None of those names are other than maybe Patterson are people that people go, oh wow.
Yeah, but they're not $10 million a year guys. They're not huge investments.
They're guys much like last year's signings that when it's November. And attrition starts to hit some of the other teams, You're like, you know.
Or even worse is when attrition starts to hit you.
You're-
It's like, Ogunjobi's down and Benton's down for this game. Well, Lowry, you're playing every snap.
Dean Lowry,
right.
you've started 90 games in the league. You know?
I know you can.
Yeah.
And it's not what we wanted, but, that's how the league works. I mean, I find it so funny that fans, analysts, they'll definitely be, less injured next year than this year. How do you? You don't think anybody gets hurt going for it like that? That's an anomaly.
It's not the way it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll have Cam Hayward all year. He'll be fine. You don't know that.
So Matt Miller, who we did Matt Miller's, he did his. That wasn't that was his rankings, right? The other day.
We went through I think a couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. He has a 7-round.
That's an endeavor.
Mock draft, all 257 pictures. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break this up into 2 segments. So we're gonna do the first.
Okay.
We'll spend the first segment on the first round.
Mm-hmm.
The next segment we'll go through the rest of it.
Matt does really good work.
Steeler picks
ESPN.
and
He's
maybe some of the
pretty
other
dialed
interesting
in as
ones.
well. Yeah. So I'm interested in his first round, and then we can definitely go through all the Steeler
This
picks.
is a heck of an undertaking.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, so he included trades.
Did he? That was my next question.
Yeah. So he's got the Chicago taking Caleb Williams.
Sure.
He's got Washington taking Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
We'll know a lot more about that pick after today with the LSU Pro Day.
Yeah.
I hear that. Okay. He then at 3 has Minnesota moving up for quarterback. This is what I had mocked in our last mock draft on Steelers.com.
I'm warming up to this from a Patriot perspective more and more too.
Yeah. It just makes sense for them. Like you can acquire them even if you don't get both first-round picks from Minnesota this year. Let's say they give you one this year and one next year, and additional,
stuff. Yeah, right.
another third, another.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's huge
for a team that doesn't have a lot of capital right now.
And they may adore Drake May in this situation, but to drop him into that situation, you're begging for him not to do well.
Yeah. So Minnesota comes up and gets Drake May. The cost here, the Vikings. Let's see here. So they get 11, 23, along with a 2025 first rounder.
Yeah, I think to get the 3, you're going to be.
If you could get 3 firsts out of Minnesota to come up and get this pick, you have to do it.
I think you do it right. I mean, that's an offensive tackle. That's a receiver.
Yeah.
And
if I was Chicago, I would consider doing. Not now that they've traded Justin Fields, but I would have considered doing that. Like 3 first-round picks.
There's a haul. Yeah. It's just none of them are super high, but that's okay.
Well, you don't know what next year's is going to be.
No, I'm just talking about for this year. 2 in this round.
2 this year is pretty valuable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So they come up and get Drake May.
Okay.
At 4.
Which, hey, I wouldn't blame the Vikings for that trade either.
No. If
both teams could win the deal.
Yeah, if you think he's the guy. And that would be one, though, that won't be made until draft day.
I would imagine.
Unless they love all 3 quarterbacks, which is highly
unless
unlikely.
the Vikes are just as happy with all 3, which maybe, but I doubt it.
Denver then trades up.
They definitely won't go to 4
right.
to get a quarterback.
Denver then trades up. They give up the number 12 pick, a 2025 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick.
Okay.
3 first-round picks, and so you don't have a first-round pick the next 3 years to come up and get J.J. McCarthy. And I talked to some people who were at the Michigan Pro Day. They said that J.J. McCarthy's Pro Day was outstanding.
Yeah.
Said he threw the ball with much more velocity
underrate his arm
than anybody thought.
Yeah, he can. You even see that on Saturday, just sitting in there at Lazy Boy.
Yeah.
He will gun it over the middle into tight windows. I still think he could maybe use a year or bring along slowly. But, hey, I would never condemn a team for being aggressive to go get a quarterback. But, I mean, when we rewrite Broncos history, think of the investments they had in Russell Wilson.
They haven't had a first round. They will have not had
McCarthy.
A first round draft pick in like 5 or 6 years,
other than McCarthy.
And they'll have one quarterback to show for.
Right. If they miss on him, I mean,
it's a big deal.
Oh, it puts you back to the Stone Ages.
Yeah, so that would be the. So the Chargers then do nothing. They sit there. They get Marvin Harrison Jr.
I was going to say, they just thrilled the quarterbacks for falling off the board. Right?
Yeah. At 6, the Giants take Malik Neighbors.
Again, they almost can't lose.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get a receiver there, I think.
7, Tennessee takes Joe Alt.
Chalk.
Yeah. At 8, the Falcons take Dallas Turner, which is somewhat chalky.
If I were them, I'd be looking to move back.
I would look to move back, or if I was going to stay there, I might take one of who's my number 1 defensive tackle.
I mean, D tackle would influence it more. I just think they have a higher grade on Turner than the D tackles, but that's what I was saying with trade down is I don't know that there's any defensive player that's a top 8 player.
Yeah.
Like you're leaving Roma Dunze on the board or tackle 2 on the board just because they're not really needs for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would take the Dunze if I were them.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because, this is Raheem Morris's first year back. He's a defensive guy.
Yeah.
And there were more defensive coaches hired this year.
It wasn't all quarterback coaches.
Yeah, it wasn't all guys who were offense. A lot of these guys have defensive minds. At the same time, you may not, because of how this falls, unless somebody wants to come up and get a Dunzier.
Yeah.
I don't know who else anybody comes up to get unless it's one of the tackles.
I would say tackle 2 or a Dunze or Bowers.
Yeah. So
who knows? Who that team would be, but I would be really interested.
At 9, then the Bears take a Dunzier.
And they'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
Again, he's probably 9 out of 10 drafts. I think he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah. 10, the Jets take Brock Bowers. That's starting to get a little chalky. It's recent chalk, but it's getting chalkier and chalkier.
So I'm kind of a wacko. And last night I had a conversation with some people we're down here with, talking about if Bowers falls to 20, I think you just jump on him.
Yeah.
We've had that conversation several times. But I was sitting there thinking last night, I was like, if you're the Chiefs, how much would you invest to go get Brock Bowers? Like 32, if he falls past the Jets.
Yeah, you're not going to go up to 10.
I wouldn't go to 10 and just say, you hang out with Travis all the time. He's only going to be here one more year at most, probably.
Yeah, you're going to be Travis's valet. When Travis goes on a date with Taylor, you're going to be the third wheel.
Not so bad. He'll probably do some cool stuff. In the meantime, you're going to be on the field together a ton.
Yeah.
Pat's going to be here. You just listen to him. Do you know how valuable he would be to the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I'd give up a lot for him.
But the cost to go from 32.
I'd say if he slips past 10.
Yeah.
And
even that's going to be – you probably to go from –
I'm thinking like next year's first.
Yeah, to go from 32 to 11 or even 32 to 15 is going to cost – it's going to be expensive.
That's why I was bouncing around in my noggin is like no one trades up the farm to go get a tight end.
Yeah.
But their formula's been pretty good with the tight end,
At 11, the Patriots, in after trading down, take Fashanu.
Good. I would take one of the tackles there, not one of the receivers.
At 12, the Cardinals, after trading down, take Brian Thomas. That's as high as
It's a little early.
That's as high as I've seen him, but that's a need.
Yeah, they have a lot of needs, but you should get a premium player, and he's pretty close. Okay.
And we'll know more about him today after his pro day. I imagine he'll look good running around down there.
So Matt Miller, great point. Matt Miller did a 7-round mock, so it's not like he's cutting corners.
Right.
But if this was the case, and this is what happened to the Cardinals last year, if I moved to 12, I would have been on the phone to get to 9 to get a Dunze, because you have tons of picks. You had tons of picks before this deal. Now you have an overflow of picks. Thomas is great, but you could get Thomas at 18 or 19 maybe. But if I could just throw a little sweetener to go to 9 and get a Dunze,
You might love Thomas, though.
You might. There's a lot to like.
Yeah. At 13, the Raiders take Bo Nix.
That works out well for them for not having to go anywhere.
So that's now 5 quarterbacks in the first 13 picks, which is good for the Steelers.
Steelers are loving it.
Yeah. At 14, the Saints take Talisi Fuaga.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He'd be a nice Steeler.
He would be a very nice Steeler. He is a nasty. Did I say he's nasty?
He's pretty nasty.
It's pretty nasty. At 15, the Colts take Byron Murphy.
That would work.
That would make some sense. DeForest Buckner's well over 30 now, and he's very expensive.
Mm-hmm. The Grover Stewarts of the world are okay. I was just sitting there thinking he's a little bit different body type. He's a very different body type than Buckner. And they always want the guys that look like condors. And just in terms of body type, he doesn't fit what the Colts do. But in terms of needs and helping them, they're interesting. I know we've both done a lot of mocks. The Colts are always hard for me.
Yeah, they could go a lot of different ways.
They really could. I'm not sure there's any wrong way they could go.
I could see a corner there, too, though.
I could see a corner, Mitchell in particular.
At 16, the Seahawks take Troy Fatanu. That's getting a little chalky here now, too.
He's from that neighborhood. Their offensive coordinator was from Washington. He could, instead of saying, I think he can play tackle, you just put him in a guard.
Just put him in a guard,
like Zach Martin. That's...
And he could still kick out the tackle.
If need be,
I think it's not Cross is the...
Cross is the left, and they drafted another one in the same round 2 years ago.
But he's on a
4-year deal.
Yeah, 4-year deal. So he's 2 years into it now. He's in year 3. So Fatanu,
or injury or whatever, right?
Fatanu could always kick out.
Keep him in the Northwest.
Excuse me. Jacksonville takes Quinion Mitchell at 17.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah.
At 18, the Bengals take Terrion Arnold. That fits their MO.
See,
they
more
take
like
corners a lot.
They do draft
round.
corners high. They absolutely do. And if he's still there.
Yeah. 19, the Rams take Jared Verse.
Would make some sense. Yeah. I would think Murphy would be. They're another team to go a lot of different directions.
Yeah. At 20, the Steelers take Jackson Powers-Johnson.
Okay. I mean, we know who he is. Center's a need. I would prefer tackle at that point, to be very honest with you. But I get it.
I mean, that's
a really good football player.
I would have a tough time, though, passing on the guy who goes at 21
I know who's still out
to
there,
Miami, and that is J.C. Latham.
Yeah, and I think Powers-Johnson could easily end up in Miami.
Yeah, I think you could flip-flop those two picks and go either way with that, but that would make so much
Oh, if Latham's
so much
sitting
sense.
there at 20, that's a home run to me.
Yeah.
That's a sprint to the podium guy.
Yeah. In fact, even at that point, you maybe start thinking of trading up for him when he slides that far. Yeah,
right,
it's like,
right.
Okay. At 22, the Eagles take Nate Wiggins.
That's their type of pick. Trade
Yeah.
a premium position. A lot of the linemen were gone.
The Patriots, at 23, after moving down, they get Cooper DeJean.
Belichick would love him.
Yeah.
I mean, the defensive staff is still pretty much in place. I would go offense, to be honest with you.
But they've always loved those guys that can do multiple things.
Oh,
and that's one of the things that you love about you could put DeJean an outside cornerback, you could put him either safety spot, you could put him in the slot.
Yep.
I mean, he can play anywhere in your back end.
I mean, I think everyone that listens to us know we adore DeJean, but they took Gonzalez in the first round last year. They transition tagged Duggar. Like, as bad as that offense is, I would go offense.
I understand that, and he's also might be your return guy, so he can put points on the board.
Yep.
He's going to work out sometime in April.
Yes.
So that's going to be a big one.
That's going to be huge. I mean, right before the draft, everyone's going to be able to react to it. Right?
He's going to go out and run like a 4.38.
You hope. Yeah, I mean, that's what he's capable of when fully healthy.
At 24, and they would then have Christian Gonzalez and Cooper DeJean. That would be
I know.
That'd be a really nice duo. At 24, the Cowboys take Amarius Mims.
I almost think they have to take line.
Yeah.
Miami and Dallas, the more I look at them, almost have to take linemen.
Yeah. That would be interesting if they pass on Guyton, though.
I like Mims more than Guyton.
Yeah, I do too, but, the
nature of that organization.
Yeah.
But,
well, and at 25, the Packers take Guyton next.
Okay. So I mean, Bakhtiari's out of the mix, and their tackles are okay, but they could bring him along slowly.
I wonder, if you get to this situation like this, and Latham is still there at 20, are the Rams getting calls to get ahead of the Steelers?
Yeah.
From teams trying to get up there to get ahead of
I
them?
would think so.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
That's why, if it gets to that range, if I'm the Steelers, I might try to be just a little bit aggressive there to move up a couple of spots to make sure I get that guy.
One of the problems with that is Cincinnati's at 18. They never trade. I'm sure they wouldn't trade with the Steelers.
Yeah, and are you going to move up one spot?
I don't think you move one.
Yeah.
Do you want to give up enough to go to 17 with a team that has similar needs to you with Jacksonville?
Right.
So
it's tricky.
It's a little hairy, yeah.
When people talk about, just trade up, it's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Yeah.
You got to find the right spot. Yeah. And the fact that the team 2 ahead of you is a dead zone is a problem.
At 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Letu.
Sure. It makes sense to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good player that late.
27, the Cardinals, this part of their trade back. This is the pick they got from Houston last year.
Mm-hmm. So they'll have 3 in this scenario.
Yeah.
They ended up with Thomas, the receiver.
They had 11.
I think 23 would have been 1. Maybe not.
23 was New England's pick.
No, so they made the deal with New England. They didn't make the deal. So Arizona didn't trade back. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
They traded. Okay, they traded with the.
They were the team that got 3 futures from Denver.
Okay, that's from Denver.
Yeah.
Okay, so they only had 2 first-round picks.
So they had
still.
2 first-round picks. Yeah.
Okay,
they had
ended up
Denver's
with Thomas
pick.
in the first round.
Thomas, and then they go get Graham Barton.
Nice. Okay, I mean he'll play somewhere on that interior.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have their tackles.
At 28, the Bills take a Donnie Mitchell.
I think that's a landing spot for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if Diggs is on the move or not, but
they get a better version of Gabe Davis.
Yeah. Agreed. Younger. I would much rather have him than Gabe Davis.
At 29, the Lions take Chop Robinson.
That would fit.
Yeah.
In a way, it would fit because he's so much different than Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Yeah.
In a dome, I always think about the get off, but he's not an e-biter.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
They're pretty set at D-tackle. Corner became a need even after acquiring people,
Yeah, but
too.
you can get that later.
Yeah, day 2 corners aren't bad.
At 30, the Ravens take Lab McConkey.
They need a receiver pretty bad.
Yeah. That would be, Lab McConkey and Zay Flowers would be a pretty nice. Small. Well, McConkey's not small.
No.
But
I think it's a little redundant, but it's a dangerous, quick twitch duo.
yeah. At 31, the 49ers take Jordan Morgan.
I think that's a real good fit for him.
Yeah.
Whether it's guard or tackle, he fits that system really, really well as a movement player. I like that a lot.
And at 32, the Chiefs take Xavier Worthy.
I think everyone just does that. 'Cause
Run
it's
on
fun.
wide receivers here late in the first round.
It is super fun. I mean, he's the fastest guy in combine history, and we know what Tyreek Hill did there.
Andy Reid with this really fast guy. All the possibilities.
I just think after you sign Marquise Brown, I get to it's only a 1-year deal. That should be a tackle. That should be a Snead replacement. You know, just because it's fun to add the fastest guy in the league to Mahomes, don't think they'll do it.
Yeah,
he's another little guy.
Another slight type of player. They've had some of those guys. They've gotten rid of them.
I mean, I'd rather have him than Mecole Hardman. I mean, don't get me wrong. Brown may not last, but Andy Reid likes taking big people too. You know.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's not just speed. I mean, if he would like a nice route runner or somebody.
I mean, I'd take Siamataya
that does something different. Somebody
best defensive back available type of thing.
Kool-Aid McKinstry or something like that. Would make a lot of sense for them
after losing Snead. Yeah. I know it's cute. I mean, and maybe it does happen, and it would be scary, but I don't think that's the best team building for them after signing Brown.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's his first round. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll dig into the next 6 rounds, and this is where it kind of gets interesting. We'll go
we'll go over all the Steeler picks.
We'll go over all the Steeler picks, all the other AFC North picks, and anybody else that stands out there that we really like.
We're not going over 257 picks.
No, we won't do that. We won't bore you with that, but we'll keep looking here and see where this thing goes. We'll do that when we return. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. We are at the NFL meetings here in Orlando. Well, the aftermath of the NFL meetings here in Orlando. But we'll be back with more on the drive right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Mics are hot.
And we're back. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. We are here in Orlando at the Ritz-Carlton where the league meetings just wrapped up yesterday. We're going through Matt Miller's full 7
that's an endeavor,
draft on
man.
ESPN here.
I
And
give him credit.
we just gave you the first round here. We're going to start off here in the second round. The run on receivers continues here.
Okay.
At the top of round 2, which I could see happening.
So I was thinking at the break, it may be a fun little game. Like we do our mocks and things. If we were in charge of the Steelers' pick, I think they would have Latham right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if we go through the 7-rounder, like what would they have ended up with if we were in charge with X players off the board?
Yeah.
I think we'd have Latham.
We would have Latham, and we would be on the phone trying to come up about 10 spots to make sure we get Frazier.
Yeah, but I mean, what screws up my thing is where did Powers Johnson go then? Maybe the next pick to
Probably
Miami.
to Miami, and Barton was still gone as well.
Yeah.
So those 2 center prospects are off the board. That being said, there are some centers.
Going 51 to 32 is a jump, though, or 33 is a jump.
I'm saying 51 to 41.
40, that's where I'm interested, yeah.
So
as much as I like Frazier, I'm not breaking the bank for him.
No. So Xavier Legette goes to Carolina with the first pick.
Nice. It's a good receiver neighborhood. As
Yeah.
You said there's a run coming up.
Keon Coleman goes at 34 to the Patriots.
Yeah. Who would you take of those two if you were in charge of the Steelers? One's a lot faster.
One's really physical.
I think Coleman's a better catch point guy, probably a little bit better route runner, body control guy at this point. I think I'd take Leggett.
I think I'd take Leggett as well. But,
after the catch.
Yeah. Keon Coleman's
would fit in really well.
His speed, his straight line speed wasn't great, but everything he did in the position drills in terms of the 3-cone and all that stuff,
everything else is great.
Was great.
Yeah, it's always the most overrated aspect.
It's almost he's almost like DK Metcalf without the speed, without the straight line speed. In terms of the opposite of DK Metcalf.
Okay,
I should say.
Right.
Metcalf didn't do well in the cone drills and those kind of things, but his speed was great.
Right.
This guy's a similar size player, not quite as big, but
DK's pretty freaky.
But he corners pretty well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's weird. It's a different skill set.
I don't remember when they started doing it. It might even be this year, but they timed the gauntlet drill.
Yeah.
And he stayed right on that line. He didn't waver at all. Showed immense body control.
And basketball player.
And had the best time on the gauntlet drill.
Yeah.
Never slowed down catching the football. I'm not saying that's more important than a 40, but that was an interesting
If you can
number
do that, and if you run your routes at the same speed, and never slow down coming in and out of your breaks, that's huge.
It's a skill. No,
huge.
I would be very interested in him in the second round.
Yeah, Jerzon Newton goes at 35. Darius Robinson at 36.
Yeah, they're going to be borderline first rounders.
Yeah.
Newton hasn't worked out yet either.
Kamari Lassiter goes at 37. Edgerrin Cooper, the first linebacker, at 38. Kingsley Suamataia, who you mentioned, late in the first round there, he goes at 39 to the Panthers.
Oh, that'd be a nice pickup for the Panthers.
That's that second pick they got. Patrick Paul at 40 to Washington. So this is that area here now. Green Bay takes Enos Rakestraw.
Okay, now I might be calling about getting the Frazier neighborhood.
Yeah, at 42, the Texans take Braden Fisk.
Okay.
43, the Falcons take Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of these teams don't need a center.
Yeah. 44, the Raiders take Roger Rosengarten.
Okay, it's fine by us, especially if we were taking Latham.
45, the Saints take Roman Wilson. So we're getting closer here. Gerard's going to be happy. Gerard Schaefer here videoing us, perhaps.
Look how thrilled he is.
At 46, the Colts take Marshawn Nealand. Now we're getting really close here. 47, the Giants take Michael Penix.
And they weren't going to take a center.
Right. 48, now the Jaguars could take one.
They could take a center.
But instead they take Mason Smith.
Wow, that's early for him. But
he's got that body type.
We're not going to get him in fourth-round mocks much
longer.
No. Yeah, by the way.
49, the Bengals take Ricky Pearsall.
Okay. That makes a ton of sense. They should go receiver early.
Yeah. At 50, the Eagles take Peyton Wilson. And I have not yet looked at this pick.
We would take Frazier.
But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Frazier. And it's not. Wow, it's 51, the Steelers taking Malachi Corley.
It's a player I like quite a bit.
Yeah.
But again, they took a center in the first round on his mock.
That's true. That's true.
He doesn't know what we did.
But we would have taken Frazier, and we would have Latham and Frazier at this point.
Which I know you and I would give our first two picks up for in an instant.
Yeah.
I mean, I would throw something in, to be honest with you, to get those two guys. Right. I mean, no doubt. But in this case, they already had the center.
Corley's another guy that the Steelers have had in for a visit.
Mm-hmm.
So
physical, he would fit well.
Yeah. At 52, the Rams take Caleb Bullock. We're not going to go through the all now.
Yeah.
54, the Browns finally make their first pick, and it's Tavondre Sweat.
I can see them go in that direction. Yeah, just a space eater. A lot of their guys are movement players, but Tomlinson's similar, though, too.
At 55, the Dolphins take Zach Frazier.
Okay, they took a tackle in the first round.
Yeah, they did it the other way
They
around.
ended up with Latham and Frazier.
Yeah.
That's
what we would have done,
yes. Right.
We would have taken Latham and Frazier. That's who the Dolphins end up with.
Okay.
The first running back goes off the board at 56. Jonathan Brooks to the Cowboys.
I want to mention that because it doesn't affect the Steelers much, but most people have him as running back one. And the big knock on him or concern is
when's he come out or was he ready to play?
But the Cowboys team doctor did the surgery on him. He's going to be a Cowboy.
He's going to be a Cowboy. Yeah.
He's from Texas. He's going to be a Cowboy, and it's a need. I think he'll be going to that pick right there.
Let's see. Another center comes off the board at 58.
Who's that?
The Packers take Mason McCormick, center out of South Dakota State.
Most call him a guard, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe we should investigate McCormick as a center. would he fit the bill? And people really like the player.
Yeah.
I've kind of ignored him because I thought he was guard only.
Well, they're saying they take it. Now, they have Josh Myers.
Yeah.
And they're saying he could play guard, but then give you a backup behind Myers.
Myers is also guard capable, but
Yeah.
I think he's mostly a guard. But if teams think, see, that's something a lot of us don't know. Is like
How many of these guys have that in their background?
in their
at some
background.
point? Yeah.
You know, like the Steelers might not say there's 3 centers that are make or break. Maybe there's 5.
Yeah.
And one
That's
of
what
them.
the Beast should be coming out next week.
Oh yeah.
And you'll learn a lot of that stuff in the Beast.
Yep, absolutely. And not just like, oh, he went to the Senior Bowl and snapped a couple times. Like that's not enough to say.
That's
he's a
not.
center.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
not going to tell me that. 59, we finally have our first safety come off the board. Newbin goes to the Texans. T.J. Tampa goes to the Bills at 60.
I'd consider him in the second round if things didn't break.
Oh, the Ravens take Mike Sanistrill at 62.
So that's a Raven pick too.
Yeah.
Right.
The San Francisco 49ers take Chris Jenkins. There's another
More
potential.
D-line for them. Wow.
Yeah.
they
Moving
do
into
that.
round 3 here. Let's look at the Adisa Isaac goes to Washington at 67.
Good.
The Patriots take Jalen McMillan, the wide receiver out of Washington, at 68.
I like those other Washington receivers quite
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah.
Jatavian Sanders, the second tight end off the board, he goes to the Chargers at 69.
Okay. I mean, you'd love to see him fall.
71. Max Belton goes to the Arizona Cardinals.
He'd be a great round 3 target for the Steelers.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Who else jumps at? Andrew Phillips, another one of those guys.
Round
Goes
3
to Denver
guy.
at 76. So we're getting close to that Steelers pick, and those guys are just coming off the board. So he goes to the Broncos at 76. Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky. Brendan Rice goes at 77 to the Raiders.
But in his draft, they have a center and a receiver. In our draft, we have a right tackle and a center.
Yeah. At 78, Kyrie Jackson, the another one of those big cornerbacks. He goes to Washington. The Bengals take Jalen Wright, running back out of Tennessee, at 80.
I could see them doing running back.
Yeah, they definitely have a need there. Let's see here.
Is that the second back that you saw?
Yes.
Yeah.
At 83, the Rams take Rook Rorhoro.
I'd be really interested
One
at this
pick
point.
ahead of the Steelers.
Okay.
At 84. That would have been,
So in our world, I would be looking at receiver corner. Rook definitely would have been a consideration.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this world, I'd like to get a tackle.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's who he has them taking.
Does he?
At 84, the Steelers take Christian Jones, offensive tackle out of Texas.
Okay. I mean, I would think he would fight. See, that's a weird one, though. Like, you'd love to move Broderick to, let's say this happens. I think Christian Jones is basically only a right. You'd love to take Broderick, put him at left, and then that makes Dan Moore do something he's not great at right, and those two battle it out. Like, he's not just good enough to say, Dan, sorry, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
You know, that's my problem with some of the third-round tackles.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep Broderick at right.
Well, Christian Jones is a right tackle only. That's what he's going to do. So maybe just say, Christian, you just line up at right tackle.
I think that's all he can do.
And
That's what you want him to do, you know.
You mix him in some first-team snaps, and then maybe halfway through camp you go and move Broderick Jones over and say, okay, work over here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a balancing act.
Yeah. At 85, the Browns take Trey Benson, running back out of Florida State.
Oh, I think they're going to go back high.
Yeah, they almost have
Actually,
to.
the whole division might.
Yeah, except for the Steelers.
Right.
At 86, the Texans take Bo Limmer, the center out of Arkansas.
Okay.
So another center off
I
the
say
board.
these
That's
centers
5.
going in round 3. Matt Miller's evaluating these guys in a vacuum, and I think he's a very good evaluator. If he thinks Limmer, McCormick, maybe even Bordellini are worth third-round picks, well, Steelers have 2. You know, if you don't get Frazier, it's not the end of the world for us. You know, a third-round center start in this league.
Jalen Polk, the other Washington
him
wide
too.
receiver,
Yeah, I
he
like
goes
him a lot.
he goes at 87 to Dallas. Let's see here. DJ James, cornerback out of Auburn, goes at 89 to Tampa.
Steelers should be coming up here soon. Huh?
They are. Let's see here. Dominic Pooney goes to the Ravens at 93. They have a need at guard.
Mm-hmm. No, they do.
Yeah. Zach Zinter goes at 94 to the San Francisco 49ers. If you're the Ravens, would you pass on Zinter?
I don't know.
They're going to know a lot about him.
It's true. They did that same move last year, though, with Voorhees.
Yeah.
You know, the red shirt guard.
Let's see here. Blake Fisher goes to Cincinnati at 97.
I might take Fisher over.
I would take
Texas
Fisher
guy.
over Jones.
Yeah,
I would take Fisher over Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, over the
But in this case, he goes there. Trent Brown's only on a 1-year deal.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes some sense. And then the Steelers at 98 take Renardo Green, cornerback out of Florida State.
Okay. I mean, I think that's the right neighborhood,
Yeah.
and he would fit.
Slot capable.
Slot capable, yeah. End of third round type neighborhood for him.
Yeah.
Sure.
99, the Rams take the Yale offensive tackle.
Okay.
Whose name I pronounced it a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to give
It's
this
not an
Agabadije. Megabadije. Okay.
Yale offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Works.
At 100, the Washington Commanders take Theo Johnson, the tight end out of Penn State.
I think they
That's
should.
the third tight end off the board.
I mean, they have Zach. They're old at tight end. They have Zach Ertz.
Okay. This gets a little easier
So
to
who
read
was
now
the
from 100
Steelers'
down.
first third-round pick?
The first third-round pick was Chris Jones.
Okay. Jones in the Florida State.
Looking here, pick 101, the Carolina Panthers take Braylon Allen. Big back.
Good.
Big back,
Yeah,
running back out of Wisconsin.
So I think there's going to be a running back run in this neighborhood.
Yeah, and there's several going off the board here.
Going
Cole Bishop goes at 102. Spencer Rattler at 103 goes to New England. Blake Corum.
So in this case, New England only has Brissett and Rattler.
Yeah.
But they're doing what we would have done and got other things.
The Chargers take Blake Corum. There's a shock.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Oh, my goodness. Muhammad Kamara, who was our sleeper outside linebacker edge guy, he goes at 106 to the Tennessee Titans. Marshawn Lloyd goes to the running back out of USC, goes to the Giants.
I like him quite a bit, too.
Yeah.
There are running back needy teams out there.
Yeah.
More than people think.
Atlanta Falcons take Tanner Bortolini at 109. There's another center. Yeah. Was that 6?
Yes.
6 centers off the board. Who else we got? The Ravens.
McCormick's really a center, yeah.
The Ravens at 113 take Trevin Wallace, the linebacker out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, can't just count on Simpson being the Queen replacement.
Cincinnati takes McKinley Jackson at 115, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M.
He doesn't really move the needle for me all that much.
No, not really.
It's okay.
Then at 119, the Steelers take Gabe Hall.
He'd be a Rook light.
Yeah.
I mean,
had a great Senior Bowl
Great
week.
Senior Bowl. He's pretty twitchy for a long developmental player.
Might be the last of those body types.
And there's not many of them, but yeah, you get him this late, you can mix him in, sure.
Luke McCaffrey goes to Denver, the wide receiver out of Rice. So McCaffrey, we get another McCaffrey in Denver.
There you go.
That's where his dad played.
That's probably where he grew up.
Yeah. Christian Mahogany goes to the Bears at 122, the guard out of Boston College.
I think he's center capable too, but I don't know. He's not a real mobile guy.
Yeah. The Packers take Michael Pratt, the quarterback out of Tulane.
They always take one
126.
a year earlier than you think they will.
Yeah.
Or 2 years earlier than you think they will. It's worked.
Let's see. Who else we got here that stands out? Okay, we got there's your running back for the Ravens at 130. They take Bucky Irving.
Okay. I mean, there's going to be a lot of running backs in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of that.
Okay, so that gets us through round 4. Moving on to round 5. Who steps? Tip Raymond, the tight end out of Illinois, who's massive, goes to New England.
Really well.
Ray Davis, a running back out of Kentucky, goes to Arizona.
He's going to be on my fantasy teams next year, by the way.
Yeah.
He's going to be the cheap late guy.
Let's see here. Cincinnati takes Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver out of Arizona, at 149. He's
real good route runner.
Slot.
Yeah,
slot. Baltimore, who do they take? Cleveland takes Tyron Hopper, the linebacker to Missouri, at 156.
Okay. Their linebackers are so-so.
Yeah. The Ravens at 165 take Keith Randolph Jr., the defensive tackle out of Illinois.
I need to do some work on him.
He's a bigger body guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Any other AFC North picks in that round? No, that's it for round 5. So moving on to round 6.
The Steelers have 2 picks
Steelers
here,
have
right?
a couple picks here. So at pick 178, they take Edifon Olafashio, the linebacker out of Washington.
Oh, he was a superb tester.
Yeah.
I mean, his jumps were great. His 40 was great. His 10 was great. That's the kind of pick I like in round 6 is
a traits guy.
Mark Robinson type, that would immediately be a special team superstar that if you develop him properly or he comes along properly, he might be a starter in a year.
At 187, the Falcons take Jordan Travis, the quarterback out of Florida State.
That would work for them too.
Yeah. Cincinnati at 194 takes Dalen Holker, tight end out of Colorado State. in at.
So people are really high on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a name I've been hearing more and more.
He's the
of.
guy after Trey McBride there.
Yeah.
At 195.
The incredible Holker.
Yeah, there you go. 195, the Steelers with their final pick take Xavier Weaver, wide receiver, Colorado.
Okay. I don't know much about him. I may have heard the name, but I don't know much about him.
See the rest of the AFC North picks here. Cleveland takes at 206 Nathaniel Watson, linebacker out of Mississippi State.
I think he's also a pretty good tester.
Yeah. I think we may have taken him in a mock draft too late. Cincinnati at 214 takes Layden Robinson, guard out of Texas A&M. Baltimore at 218 takes Tylen Grable, offensive tackle out of Central Florida.
Okay.
In 7th round, finishing this
Steelers
thing
don't
up.
have a pick here.
They don't have a pick. Cincinnati at 224 takes Xavier Thomas, defensive end out of Clemson. Baltimore at 228 takes Evan Williams, safety out of Oregon. Cincinnati then takes at 237 Dejon Anthony, safety out of Ole Miss. Cleveland takes at 243 KT Leviston, guard out of K-State.
Okay.
And I believe that should do it. No, the Ravens have
late
250
round
here.
lineman in the league.
Zion Tupolo Fetu, defensive end out of Washington. And I believe that does it for the rest of the AFC North. Yeah, those names at the bottom of that, they're just not.
I mean, again,
they don't jump out at me like
no,
it's maybe some previous drafts.
I would say, I mean, it's not like we're ever going to be experts on 7th round picks. We just don't have enough hours in the day. But I would have said 365 days ago, or exactly 2 years ago, or exactly 3 years ago, we like that 6th, 7th round a lot more than we do now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's obvious. I mean, there's not many juniors declared.
Yeah. But I think, so the Steelers come out of this with center in the 1st round.
Receiver
in the second round, offensive tackle in the 3rd,
corner,
and a corner in the 1st.
Who was that 5th pick? They have 5.
The 5th was the defensive tackle.
Yeah. Hall. Yeah. So
I would have flip-flopped the first 2 picks.
I would have loved the draft to gone this way. I would have made different picks. Like if you said, here's the haul that Matt Miller got for the Steelers, would you trade all their picks for that? I'd say no.
Yeah.
But if you told me these are the first 19 picks and Latham's on the board and Frazier's on the board when you pick in the 2nd round, sign me up. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's
that's
Matt Miller's 7-round mock. That's quite the endeavor. We're going to do a little mock
mock
here.
It up. It's been a while.
Let's mock it up. We'll do our 7-round draft picks, but we're just going to make the Steeler picks. We'll do that when we return. After this, you're listening to The Drive here on Steelers Nation Radio. We are live at the NFL meetings here in Orlando, and we'll be here all week. We've been here all week, I should say. This is our final day here. Of course, you can watch all the shows if you missed any of them on YouTube. You can also listen to them on this, download the podcast as well. But go check out the Steelers YouTube channel. Lots of good content there. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. We'll be back with more right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Mics are hot.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of The Drive here in Orlando. We are on the road, and again, we were on the road just last month in the
Yeah, we
Combine.
were going mobile. Yeah.
That's what we
They
do.
both were fun.
We take you where the action is, and right now the action is our mock draft. We're going to do a little
Yeah,
mock
let's dig
here.
into it. Steelers have made some roster moves since we've done this last, and
so-
gathered a little intel as well.
So we're doing this one today on Pro Football Focus,
Okay.
and we haven't done them in a couple of weeks here. I assume
I think they've updated things.
They've updated
and
some things a little bit here.
Jaden Daniels doesn't fall to 20. And,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So we're up now at pick 20, and the people available to us are Cooper DeJean.
Interesting.
Jerzon Newton.
Nope.
Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
Terry and Arnold.
Interesting.
Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
Amarius Mims.
I'm a fan.
Graham Barton. Tyler Newbin. Peyton Wilson. Tyler Guyton. Donnie Mitchell.
It's good, but there's not a run to the podium guy for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we do have 10 teams on the phone offering trades. 10!
Okay.
10!
Well, let's definitely listen.
Let's see who's on the
I
phone
don't know that
here.
we need to field all 10.
On the phone are
purpose
the
of-
Philadelphia Eagles.
Are they?
They have pick 22.
Okay. I was like, I'd like to stay
Close.
26 or lower, give or take. 'cause
Okay,
there's
then you're
about
not going to
five.
like any of these other offers because the only other team who's offering a first-round pick or has a first-round pick this year to offer is Detroit at pick 29.
You have to blow my doors off. I mean, there's always a price.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'd get a decent O lineman at 29 or receiver, but I'd rather stay close to 20.
If we go to 22, I assume Philadelphia is coming up to get DeJean
Or Wiggins.
or Wiggins, one of the two.
Or Arnold.
Or Arnold. Yeah, there's 3 corners there.
Yeah. Which
And
means that one would still be there for us.
One would
if
still
we
be there
wanted,
for
right?
us, if that's the direction that we want to go.
We could talk Detroit for fun. I mean, there was
Let's see what Philadelphia
a
has.
lot of names I liked.
Let's see what Philadelphia has to say here. So if we give 22 for 20, they have picks 50 and 53, but they typically won't give those up
I
to us.
doubt that's going to get done.
53 is not. They're not going to say yes. But what if I say for 98? So that would give us 22 and 53. We'd be giving up 20 and 98. There's a 30% chance that they would accept
Take a
that.
swing. I mean, I would definitely do that, but I'd be shocked if they are cool
They
with
did
that.
not accept that.
Okay.
All right. I'm not giving them 84.
For 53, you said?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Although I would like that area.
Yeah. What's their third rounder?
They don't have one. That's the problem.
Okay. They may not be a good trade partner.
They may not be.
Future picks are great, but I want to make some early picks in this one. if we're
Yeah,
moving out of one.
I'm not interested. I mean, I might. Would you give up? They have 50 as well. Would you go 22 and 50 for 20 and 84?
Yeah. Considering what's on the board right now, I mean, my favorite 2 players could fall off the board, and it wouldn't change my life that much. To move all the way up and from 3 to 2, yeah, I would do that.
Okay, so that is a 47% chance
Okay.
of being accepted.
Maybe we could throw in a
You want to try?
kicker next year.
You want to try to swap picks next year? Like, let's say they're 5th for our. We don't have a 6. So let's say
we give them one of their.
let's say one
sevens
of
back.
those 6. They're 6th next year for one of our 7s.
I would say the other way. I thought we'd have to give them more. Like,
Yeah,
give
no,
them.
they're 6 next year for one. That is a 40. That only knocked it down 2%. That's a 45% chance.
So I thought the deal from this year's picks, we were light on our end.
We're giving up 20 and 84. They're giving up 20 and 22 and 50.
I thought we had to add a sweetener to make that happen. Like give them a 7.
Doesn't look like it.
All right, we're
We're giving up the 7th next year for a 6th next year.
Okay.
That is a 45%
And we
chance.
got that 7th from them in the Pickett deal.
That was not accepted.
Okay. Well, what if we do it without their 6th?
We'll do it without the swap.
Yeah, that's
Because
fine.
the 7th rounder next year only bumps it up 1%.
Mm-hmm.
They did that.
Okay. So we moved up heavy from 3 to 2 and only moved back 2 spots.
We moved
in
up
the first round.
34 spots.
Yeah. I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Considering if Latham was on the board, I wouldn't do that.
Now, if we wanted to, with the 2 second-round picks, we could move up to get a center if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm. No, we could.
And maybe
I'm also sort of interested in a McCormick type too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
or Bortolini,
right.
or
I just know
Limmer.
trading up on these sites is really difficult.
All right, we're going to resume the draft here. So
Okay.
we moved back. They took Terry and Arnold. Tyler Guyton went at 21, so that means Cooper DeJean is still there. Nate Wiggins still there. Jackson Powers Johnson still there. Amarius Mims still there. Graham Barton still there. We've got 3 more teams on the phone now, including.
I think we won't agree, but I would take Mims, but I would certainly listen to trade offers.
I have no problem taking Mims there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially after Guyton fell.
Yeah. San Francisco is the only other team with a pick in the top.
I'd rather stick in this
You
neighborhood.
just want to take the pick
Yeah.
and draft Mims
Yes.
over DeJean?
Close, but yeah.
Okay.
Just over need. I mean, it's not because of his injury. It's just the secondary's in a lot better shape than it was a month or so ago, and the O-line isn't.
Okay. Amarius Mims is the pick at 22, and we're cruising here. We're back up at 50, and Zach Frazier went 2 picks ahead of us.
Okay. I mean, I can live with that now. I'm feeling a little more comfortable with that than I was a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I guess you could still call Mason Cole if you had to,
And Bortolini.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect, guys, but then
Yeah.
you'd have other things, you know.
you would. Okay.
You're loaded at receiver or, you know.
We got 6 trade offers for pick 50. We have picks 50 and 51 now after our
nice.
trade.
So who do we like here?
TJ Tampa,
It's great, but they don't need an outside corner.
Mike Sanistril.
I think you can get him later, but
Not
I guess on this board,
on this
he's the
board you
best
can't.
available, yeah.
Chris Braswell, Michael Penix, Roman Wilson. Remember, we're going to get 2 of these dudes.
I know.
We could take Sanistril and Wilson. They can room together.
They
at
could room
training camp.
together. They could battle it out. Yeah, there you go. No, I like Wilson
It's
here.
built in here. Javon Bullard, Adisa Isaac, Jatavian Sanders, Jermaine Burton, Jonah Ellis, Ruka Kororo. I think that's the move.
Would you take Sanistril or Rook?
I think it takes Sanistril and Roman Wilson.
Wilson, I think, is the easiest one on that.
I think
list.
I think you double down on the Michigan dudes.
They won a lot of games together. Do it.
Fills a lot of. Now you have your slot corner. You get the best slot cornerback in this draft, and Roman Wilson, who I think is going to be very good.
No, I'm a big fan, and he's much more than just a slot to me. Now we should have 1 third-rounder now, right? After the,
yeah, we have
after the deal.
98, and then our next pick is at 119.
Okay.
Okay, so we're up here at 98. Michael Pratt, Cedric Van Pran, Mason McCormick,
Okay, I'd be interested in that.
Dadrian Taylor Demerson, Maris Deliafu, Sione Vaki, Ray Davis, Bo Limmer is there.
I really like McCormick, and I didn't know about the center thing until an hour ago. And even if he isn't, maybe James Daniels your center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one more center guard capable guy.
Well, let me take a look here in his background because I can do that on here.
Yeah, that is nice about
He's
Pro
played
Football.
all guard
in college.
in college.
Well, I mean, it's a small school, but
Small
yeah.
school, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those Dakota guys, the Dakota State guys, North and South Dakota, there's a track record there. Those
They
guys
cross-train a lot.
Yeah. A lot of them went there as tight ends. And they,
They were
big
exactly.
body
They
types.
weren't big recruits, of course.
Yeah, he's
right.
6'5", he's 315 pounds. Would you take him over Limmer?
If I knew that he's truly center capable, and that's not just Miller making it up. I mean, I just don't know the background from an hour ago, and that's something I'm going to do whenever I get to the airport, to be honest with you. I'm going to look at his background a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I like Limmer.
I like Limmer.
He's also played some guard.
Okay.
He's played right guard his first 2 seasons, moved over to center last year.
That's fine with me. I mean, the only place that's listed McCormick as a center was Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong, but it's the first I've ever seen that, and he hasn't played any center.
And I think for the Steelers, I like Limmer better than Van Pran.
Oh, me too. Van Pran to me is off the board for me.
Yeah.
He's just
I
too
know a lot of
heavy-footed.
Steeler fans like Van Pran because what's the name that they saw?
Oh, they've been here about 3
Oh,
years.
he's a potential first-round draft
Yeah,
pick.
he's won national titles. He's a really good college player on a great team. But I just don't think he fits that well.
Yeah. So Limmer? Mm-hmm. All right, Bo Limmer it is. I don't know if he's a day one starter, but he'll be in the mix.
And you maybe bring back Mason Cole or something like
Yeah.
that and figure it out. Hopefully he develops and goes past him.
All right, we're at 119 now.
So we have a center.
We have center.
We have a right tackle.
Yes.
We have the 2 Michigan boys.
Yes.
Okay. D tackle wouldn't be terrible. Another receiver wouldn't be awful.
Another receiver wouldn't break my heart.
Yeah.
I would even maybe throw a safety into the mix, or
Yeah,
a cornerback into the mix. The guys
somebody bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the true slot.
The guys available. Matt Gonclave's a tackle out of Pitt.
I like him in this neighborhood.
They're pro days today as well.
Oh, is it? Good.
Yeah. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the cornerback out of Louisville. And he's
a good player. I mean, I like him in this neighborhood.
He's 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's a little different from Sainestro.
He is.
Tyke Smith, the safety out of Georgia.
He's definitely different. Well, kind of different. Yeah.
Gives you slot safety capability.
Right.
Leonard Taylor, the defensive lineman out of Miami.
It makes some sense. I'd
fits
rather
the bill.
Mason Smith,
Yeah.
but right.
Aeneas Smith, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Elijah Jones, the cornerback out of
A little too redundant to
Boston
Saints
College.
though.
Yeah. Cooper Beebe, guard out of K-State.
See, I think Cooper Beebe's a second-round pick, and anytime I fiddle on Pro Football Focus, he's always here late. They must just dislike him. I almost kind of feel like cheating to take him there. Yeah.
Christian Jones is still there. Muhammad Kamara.
I mean, we kind of have that extra pick to do something fun like that.
We still have one thing that they haven't done this offseason is sign their fourth.
Right. I thought Golden might be in the mix
outside linebacker.
Right.
Yeah.
He's cheap. He's productive. He'd be a really good special teamer,
Be a
too.
really good special teamers.
That's my favorite name so far that we've talked about.
Charles Smith-Wade, the cornerback out of Washington State. Braylon Allen, halfback out of Wisconsin. McKinley Jackson, Kalen Carson, Jordan Travis is still there.
Just real quick, is there a 6'1" or bigger receiver that stands out?
Let's take a look here. I'll break it down by receivers. You got Aeneas Smith, Cornelius Wills, Johnson, Marcus Rosemary St. Jack Saint. I always get that backwards.
Yeah, me too.
Taj Washington, Isaiah Williams, Luke McCaffrey.
No.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping like a Burton or a Baker or somebody like that happened to slip.
I think it's Tyke Smith or Muhammad Kamara.
I think Kamara's a better prospect.
Yeah.
I would take Kamara.
I'd take Kamara. They've had pretty good luck with those Colorado State edge rushers.
Or, the 6'1" and under edge rushers too,
All right. Our next pick here is at 178, James Williams. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's going to be a linebacker in the NFL.
/ nickel line. I mean, he's not going to be in the third level.
Yeah. Because if you don't know about him, he played safety at Miami.
I think he was heavily 4- or 5-star recruited as a king-size safety.
He's 6'5", 215 pounds. So you tell him, hey, James, we want you to put on another 5 to 10 pounds here, and you're going to play linebacker. In the meantime, you're going to be a special teams player. Sit here and learn, and in a couple of years, we'll see what we have.
I'm going to veto that pick, though.
Okay.
I mean, just because he's so tall and skinny to be in the box, and the reason he's not busted or isn't projected as safety, he hasn't changed directions well enough because he's so high. I'm not sure that means at the NFL level he can do it at the second level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
I don't need that project.
I just don't know what else we're going to like here. Cornerback Dwight McLaughlin out of Arkansas. Trevor Keegan, guard out of Michigan. Jaheim Bell, tight end out of Florida State. Tyrone Tracy, the halfback out of Purdue.
We don't need a running back.
He's good,
He's
good.
Really interesting player. He's a receiver turned running back. I'm very high on him.
A.J. Barner, the tight end out of Michigan.
They don't need a tight end at all, but I think A.J. Barner is going to be a number 2, better than Jesse James type player for 10 years. The Ohio State kid and the Michigan tight end to me are plug-and-play, tough guy, Big Ten, well-coached, can block. Interesting dudes.
Tip Raymond is also there.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd rather have.
Yeah.
Raymond is more of a project. He's bigger,
But he was
ran
fast,
better. So one of those guys would make some sense.
Cody Schrader, another running back there, is kind of interesting.
If they didn't sign Patterson, I would consider a back in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Jordan Jefferson, the other
I haven't taken a defensive tackle.
What's
his height and weight?
He is 6'4", 317. So he's big enough.
Yeah. He'd be fine, or one of the tight ends would be high on my list.
Yeah, you also have, let's see here. I mean, now you can get some of those, like DeCorian Clark is a bigger wide receiver out of UTSA. He's 6'3", 215.
I was also thinking an athletic linebacker in this neighborhood makes some sense, too, with some upside.
Steel Chambers is there.
Yeah.
He fits that.
He does.
What are you thinking here?
One of the tight ends.
One of the tight ends.
Raymond or
Barner.
Barner's safer. Raymond has more upside. I think both would be useful. I don't think Barner gets this far, to be honest with you. I mean, I would have a higher grade on Barner.
Okay, so then we take him.
Yeah.
All right. I got no problem with that. Tight ends often, and Raymond now is available at this pick.
That doesn't shock me.
This is our final pick at 195. Looking here, we got...
I'd probably concentrate on, like, linebacker or safety.
Yeah, Schrader's still here. Kamal Haddon. M.J. Devonshire, the cornerback out of Pitt. Brennan Jackson, edge out of Washington State. Let's see here. Tyron Hopper is there, the linebacker out of Missouri.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
So I was
Tanner Bortolini is still available.
he's another one on here that I don't take because he's too low.
Too low, yeah. Jalen Ford still available at linebacker as well.
That would fit the bill. You know,
yeah.
He may end up being a borderline starter in a year. That's not a bad pick.
All right, that's a pick then.
I mean, it's a push Mark Robinson type pick.
Yeah.
And who knows if Holcomb's ready for week 1? I mean, he might be. Both might be in the roster right off the bat.
Yeah. And so the picks are in. We made a trade at 20, moved down 2 spots to come up 34 spots in round 2, and ended up with 2 second-round draft picks. Taking at 22, we took, moving down to 22, we took Amarius Mims, the tackle out of Georgia. In round 2 at 50 and 51, which was what we had after we made the trades there, we took the Michigan duo of Mike Sanistril and Roman Wilson.
Ended up with 3 Wolverines when it's all said and done.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Then at 98, we took center Bo Limmer out of Arkansas. At pick 119, we took Muhammad Kamara, the edge rusher out of Colorado State, who was both of our sleepers.
Yeah,
folks, we didn't talk about that.
That was kind of funny, yeah.
That's the way it came out. We both had the same sleeper.
We both turned in our triple take edge guys, and he was our sleeper, yeah.
Then at 178, we took tight end A.J. Barner, and in round 6 with our final pick, we took linebacker Jalen Ford out of Texas.
Okay.
Our overall draft grade was an A-.
Wow, okay. I like it. I don't love it. I mean, it's not my favorite one we've done. It's not my least favorite one we've done.
Yeah.
I like the Sanistril Wilson thing, but they're both little. You know, 2 of our top 3 picks are small people. That rubs me wrong a little bit. I'm just critiquing it. I love Mims, but is he a plug-and-play guy? You know,
yeah,
questionable. Is Limmer even a day 1 starter? Maybe. Yeah, who knows? You know, and you might be happy with both of them.
Yeah,
but they're not our favorite prospects at those positions. You know,
yeah.
I mean, I like it.
And you start moving around. This is, you never know. The problem with trading down. I still think some of the sweet spot of this draft is like from 20 to 55.
Yeah,
and
you'd love to get 3 picks in
You
there.
don't know how those picks are going to fall. That's the problem.
Once in a while you trade down, and then the second round
you
rolls
lose
around,
out
and you're like,
I don't like any of these dudes.
Yeah. I mean, often, when the small trade downs, you're going to like somebody. I mean, there was Mims, there was DeJean. I mean, there was plenty of guys we liked at that point.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, man, I definitely would have traded up from 51 to 40 or, as opposed to gets hit hard in that second round sometimes.
Absolutely. That was our latest mock on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, it's fun.
But it's got some different names on there this time around. We're going to take another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on Steelers Nation Radio. We are at the NFL meetings here in Orlando at the Ritz-Carlton. We've been here all week long, and, of course, you can watch those shows on YouTube as well. But please also listen to them here on Steelers Nation Radio. Tell your friends. Tell everybody.
Yeah, spread the word.
Spread the word. But anyways, we're going to get to a break here, and we'll be back with more right after this.
This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
Mics are hot.
Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. We are here in Orlando at the NFL meetings. And, Matt, one of the reasons that we are here is because...
Pretty major reason.
Yeah, it's the reason we're here. Is that this is where all the rule changes take place and everything of that nature. The league votes on all of that stuff. For the Steelers, Mike Tomlin talks for the only time this offseason until we get to the draft. Omar Khan also, of course, addressed the media. And to wrap things up every year, Art Rooney, the second, gives his kind of synopsis of everything that was done here at these meetings. And so that happened late yesterday. We haven't had a chance to...
Huge piece of the equation here, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The owners' meetings, right.
So he spoke with the media yesterday. I was there. And here's what Art had to say yesterday at the end of the meetings.
Good afternoon.
You're clear, guys.
First, I'll just say that we were happy with the announcement that we were awarded Germany as our third global market opportunity, so we can have more activities in Germany, and look forward to continuing to build our fans internationally. As far as the rules changes, a couple of significant rules changes that the hip drop tackle, I think, was an important rule to pass, and then the kickoff rule is going to be interesting. Let's put it that way.
Art, did you vote for or against the kickoff rule?
We wound up voting for it after it was sort of a foregone conclusion that it was going to pass.
You weren't exactly in favor of it to start, though.
Not a lot of enthusiasm for it to start with.
Does Danny Smith have any enthusiasm for it, do you think?
Well, he was part of the group of special teams coaches that puts this thing together, so we can blame some of it on him.
Or your proposal for the pushing back the trade deadline, too, was accepted, right?
Yes, it passed, yeah, so we pushed it back a little.
And just what's the significance of it? What's that do? Be able to.
I mean, I think it's just an adjustment that now that we have a little longer season, just catching up with kind of the fact that the season's a week longer now.
Are the optics of the kickoff rule something that was of concern or disrupting to the owners? It just can be entirely different look now.
I mean, it's a dramatic change. There's no way around that, and we had some reservations because of that. So it's going to be interesting.
Have you gotten a sense from the league when you guys might get another international game? I know that they were kind of working through some of those announcements this week.
As we stand today, we don't think we're going to have one in 2024, but we think soon.
So no Brazil.
Not as far as we know.
Any thoughts on this? I guess we're going to play Christmas Day game on Wednesday this year.
Right. Again, you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to go where your fans are, and it's become a popular day for our games, and so I think we'll continue to see it.
With adding Germany to Mexico and Ireland, is the idea to eventually play in all those places, or does having a marketing agreement not necessarily mean that you want to play a game there?
Well, we'd love to play a game in all those places. Not sure how quickly that can happen, so it's it'll be a while before we get to all of them. But yeah, we'd love to play games in the markets where we have that opportunity.
Just from your perspective, how important was it to get the hip drop tackle banned from the game?
Well, as you may recall, we lost Le'Veon Bell for a whole season because of a tackle like that way back, and so we've had concerns about it for a while now. I think the biggest question is our officials have a hard enough job, and it is a hard foul to call, so it'll be interesting to see how it gets called. But there's no question can be a dangerous play.
Do you like how the offseason's been going for you guys so far, acquisitions, and how your team's setting up now?
Well, it's been a busy off season. I like where we are so far. Obviously, we have the draft is the next priority, and we've got to do a good job with the draft.
There were a lot of big-time moves there. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Patrick Queen. I don't want to say it was a departure, but it was a little one out of the ordinary for you guys. Is that just all part of, hey, we need to take the next step?
I think every year we try and figure out, how do we get better and how do we get better as quickly as possible. And so, I think that's really the bottom line is to try to get better as quickly as possible.
At the same time, what excites you about Arthur Smith?
We're glad to get Arthur. I mean, he brings a lot of experience. We've been on the other side of the line of scrimmage from him for a while now, and we're always impressed with his approach to the game, and so we're excited about having Arthur as well.
Any feedback on your proposal to get the draft in Pittsburgh?
Nothing really new to report other than we continue to be optimistic about it.
That should be next meeting, I guess.
Most likely the May meeting will be when we find out, right.
Since we've talked to you, the NFLPA had their second report card come out. Do you have any takeaways from the feedback that you guys got from the players this time around?
We prefer to get our feedback directly from the players. We're not even sure, where that comes from. It doesn't get presented to us. It gets presented to the media. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's more of a media opportunity for the Players Association as opposed to a serious effort at constructive criticism. But
1 minute.
We look at improving our facilities every year, and we'll continue to do that.
All right, one last thing about the Christmas Day. Does that mean the previous week game has to be played on a Saturday for the teams participating in the Wednesday?
It means that the teams that play at Christmas will play an early game the week before. That's right.
I know it was this time a year ago we talked to you about the Thursday night flex scheduling, and you guys ended up being impacted by that. I think this last year having 2 Thursday night games. How did you think the first season of the change to the Thursday night schedule went?
We survived. I think we won both of those Thursday night games, so it went okay. We're
20.
concerned about how many night home games we get scheduled, and so we had 3 this year, and that's kind of hopefully the max.
All right, do other teams have 3 global partnerships or more?
There are teams with 3 or
5. Here we go.
a couple. Yeah.
Mics are hot.
All right, thanks
Okay,
everybody.
thanks.
That was Steelers president Art Rooney II with the media yesterday, wrapping up a lot
of different stuff.
everything that happened there, and of course, the Steelers being granted the market in Germany. They now have Mexico, Ireland, and Germany. At some point, they, as he said, they would like to play in all of those places. But I think I think the pecking order is going to be Mexico, Ireland, Germany, unless they end up playing another team that has several teams have the German market.
Okay.
There's a number of teams
the
that
Irish
have that.
market's obviously super strong.
But for the Steelers to be the home team in each of those markets, which that's kind of what that's set up to be. You have all kinds of do more. Like
marketing and sales,
watch
and
parties and things of that nature in those areas, and work closely with the people in those areas to drum up interest in the league, and the Steelers have a large fan base in all of those places.
And I urge people to go back and listen to yesterday's show if you didn't, because we went in pretty depth, because I didn't really understand the whole international markets and how you get awarded and all that. And we had a 10, 15-minute conversation of how that works. But it's profitable. It spreads the brand. It spreads football. It spreads NFL. Create new Steeler fans too from abroad. So it's a pretty cool situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people understand that there are millions. When I say millions, there are millions of Steeler fans in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the fan base, and so that's one of the reasons. I mean, it's one of the reasons why the Steelers have a Spanish broadcast. So that they can play it for the fans down there. So
I
it's
didn't
a big
realize
deal.
that till recently that they were so huge in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, not like every team is. I mean, they are one of the most
they're
popular teams
one of the
in
top
entire
top
country.
ones. So, but also he mentioned the hip drop tackle and losing Le'Veon Bell to that. Back in 2015. And of course, the kickoff change is going to be the thing that people, the fans sitting at home watching, because it's going to be the first thing that you see when you turn the game on.
Yeah,
like what is this?
Looks different, right? Not everyone's listening to the rule changes in late March and whatnot until they turn on the TV the first time.
Digging too deeply into it. Then you're going to turn on that first preseason game. You're going to see that rule change. You're going to see everybody aligning for the first kickoff, and it's going to be like, whoa, that's different.
Yeah, it looks different.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't sound like the Steelers were super thrilled about it, but the special teams coaches were, and it was that one's getting passed either way. So
it's a fundamental change to how the game has been played.
It is, and I think it's going to be a stressful situation for those special teams coaches that wanted it.
Yeah.
But implementing it's a whole different story when
Yeah.
depending how much time your head coach gives you for practice time at special teams.
And I can't wait to talk to Danny Smith, the Steelers special team coordinator, and get his thoughts on this, and not only his thoughts, but did he have any of the input into some of these things and how he
or was
feels
he bored against it?
Yeah, and how if he feels it's going to be implemented. Because if you had all 32 of those guys together, it doesn't mean they all agreed.
No, of course not.
On what was going to come out of this.
Maybe 17 of them pushed.
Yeah,
it
this
through.
this may have been the compromise that came out of the whole thing.
And as we started the show, they quickly pivot, go get a great kickoff returner because now kickoff returners are drastically
back
more
in vogue
valuable
again.
than they were a day ago.
Yeah, if you look at it last year, the Steelers returned 24 kickoffs.
Only 24.
Their opponents returned 18.
Wow. Okay.
So basically one per game from the opponents and a little more than that for the Steelers.
Yeah. That's going to go up drastically for everything.
You're probably going back up above 30.
I would think so.
Somewhere in that range. Because I don't know that it really benefits you.
I wonder how many
fair
touchbacks
catch
they
now.
both averaged.
Yeah.
I mean, touchbacks per game is going to go to like nothing.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that makes the game more exciting.
It does. It does.
Because a lot of times if you're at home and they're okay, it's a kickoff, you come out of a commercial break, they do the kickoff, it's a touchback. They go to set things up. Let's go to another commercial break.
It just gets repetitive.
Yeah.
And I know that they make an extra buck, with that commercial break, kickoff, commercial break. Of course. You still can do it.
Yeah.
But now I might not be at the fridge grabbing something to eat or in the bathroom or whatever. I want to see the play.
And scoring, as we've mentioned before, has been down in the league the last couple of years, and this may spur that along a little bit.
It could. And it certainly opens the door for kickoff returner types to make an impact on the game, like
Absolutely.
Patterson. Right.
And now when you're building your roster, you do have to pay attention to that bottom of the roster.
Absolutely.
You better have some guys that can cover kicks.
True.
And I wonder if, as we said yesterday, I wonder if that changes now. Do you include maybe some of those bigger body guys? Maybe you do have another tight end on your roster than you normally would. Maybe you put an athletic defensive lineman out there. Some guys like that for the blocking purposes.
Yeah, I say as a return team because they don't. We got a lot more into it earlier in the week, but the distance from the kickoff team to the kickoff return team, the walls, is much shorter than it used to be. So
and you can't onside kick unless you declare. So before,
a big guy with his gloves.
Yeah,
you
could
right
put
at
those
him,
guys out there because the teammate just say, "Hey, I see this guy out there. He has no hands."
He has no hands.
No
taped
hands.
up to no end. It's like blasting it at a guard, right?
And he's not going to recover that. Well, now you can't do that, but you can put those guys out there to set up your wall. And
I would think the Darnell Washingtons of the world will be out there for sure
on your front line,
and maybe your most athletic O lineman or somebody like that. It's an undersized guy that's a 5th-round pick that's putting on weight to start next year. That type of guy.
A Bo Limmer.
A Bo Limmer. Yeah, that kind of guy.
Anyways, let's get to another break. He is the Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. That was what Art Rooney II had to say coming out of these meetings yesterday. Everything wrapping up here yesterday. We are still here. We're doing our final show of the week here in Orlando.
Final segment of the week.
Our final segment coming up here of the week here from the beautiful Ritz-Carlton here in Orlando. We'll do that when we return. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio.
is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR Steelers Nation Radio.
You're hot.
And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. Our final segment of the week,
Yeah,
Matt.
it's been a good week.
It really has. It's been a lot of fun. Learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Some we
Had fun.
talked about, some we can't talk about.
Sure.
But, it really is a valuable to come to something like this. You learn about some of these new rule changes.
Mm-hmm.
You learn about, just a little bit of everything. You get to talk to some people from some of the other teams and things of that nature. And one of my takeaways from this week, Matt, is to me the 2024 NFL Draft really starts at pick 3 with the Patriots.
I think so too. I think it's definitely quarterback, and then teams.
Do they move out of there? Does somebody move up? Because
I bet that's the
once
Vikings
somebody
talk.
moves up, that
Right.
changes the entire
Yeah.
rest of the draft. Even if the Patriots stay there and take a quarterback, okay, that's kind of what everybody's been saying.
It's still possible, right?
It's possible, but
Yeah.
I think more and more that they trade out of that spot, and there's a ripple effect through the rest of the draft.
Yeah, and obviously Minnesota's the most likely culprit to be the one to move up. I mean, they aren't even hiding
But Denver could, and
maybe the Raiders. I mean, there could
yeah.
be a surprise team in there. The Giants could go to 6-3 or
Yeah.
something like that too. But I think I would be maybe comfortable today moving to 3. You're not comfortable moving to 4.
Right.
I mean, but there's not a lot of clarity of who Washington likes best. And LSU's Pro Day is going on as we speak, too. So maybe they don't even know.
Yeah,
right.
some of that could still take place here.
Williams at 1 sounds like it's concrete.
Yeah. You heard Art Rooney the second in the previous segment there. He was asked about the Christmas Day games. 2 games on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those 4 teams will play the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah.
That's
so
new.
they'll have a slightly short week, play Saturday, a really short week, play Wednesday, nice long 11-day week. And
over the holidays, which isn't bad.
Right, and maybe even have a bye before your Saturday game. You won't have a bye between, but you might have a bye before the Saturday game possibly, one of the 4 teams. But, hey, I mean, for the viewers – I mean, selfishly, I love standalone games because even if it is Christmas Day and there's only 2 and we're going to have people over, I can still pay heavy attention to it or kick them out and watch it on
I'm
DVR.
working.
Right, yeah, leave me alone. For personal reasons, Christmas Eve gets a little hairier in my family to pull off, but there won't be an Eve game this year.
I don't. That would be Tuesday night.
So
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I assume there's a Thursday night game that week as usual.
That I don't know. I haven't gotten any clarity on that. I guess we'll figure that.
That's actually one of our next big things.
That will be the next big thing. I was just going to say
yeah.
the next big event coming up for the NFL is that schedule release here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And we always have a live show, usually with Mike Pursuta, and react to it exactly as it happens. And we know the teams, we just don't know where and when and all that stuff yet.
The where's, the whens, and as Art Rooney II said, no international game. Doesn't look like there's going to be an international game this year for the Steelers. But
sure
those are
smells
coming.
like one next year.
They're coming, yeah.
smells
They're
like one
definitely
next year.
coming
Yeah.
here because it's been the Steelers haven't done it since 2013 when they played the Vikings in London.
Yeah.
And
as much the band as they are in Mexico and the 3 countries now too. And they've always been a good sell anyway.
Yeah.
I can see
That's
them
always
going
part
year
of the
from now.
problem is that teams. One of the reasons why the Steelers and Packers have not played a lot of overseas games, because you largely do that when you are the visiting team, at least for those 2 team franchises.
You don't lose
have
your
done
home
that.
game, yeah.
And nobody wants to give up a home game against the Steelers or Packers.
Right.
Because that's a guaranteed sellout at your stadium.
Your sellout, yeah. That's a great point.
Because of you people, you show up at those games and make it so that that's basically another Steeler home game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, another way of putting it is, let's say you're a rundown organization and you're having a hard time selling tickets, but the Steelers are coming to town, or Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's. Right. We don't mind playing 2 games, because we have trouble selling out our stadium.
There aren't many stadiums that have a hard time being sold. I mean, the league is thriving, but the ones that do, if Green Bay comes to town, Pittsburgh comes to town, it's going to be full. We're going to sell a lot of beers. We're going to sell a lot of parking, a lot of hot dogs. Right?
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Of course, the Steelers were active this week, making agreeing to terms of 4
moves.
guys.
Yeah, right.
So that's noteworthy as well.
Churning that bottom of the roster, finding some fits, prepping for the draft, and as you mentioned, I mean, it's really draft season pretty much as soon as we hang up here today.
Yeah, you'll start to see the visits start to heat up for the Steelers. They've had, I believe, 7 guys in as we sit here now. So
maybe we'll review those guys next week.
Yeah, we'll start looking at that. But they can have 30. The local guys don't count against that 30.
A pit guy can just walk next
door. Pit guy, West Virginia guys, Penn State guys.
There's a mile radius thing, yeah.
So those guys don't count against your top 30 visits. And, well, typically over the years, if you start looking at those guys who came in for top 30 visits for the Steelers, there's a handful of them that end up becoming Steelers.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is they bring them in for a reason. Sometimes it's just a medical recheck. Or, I want clarity on what was this quarterback seeing on 3rd and 8s. I didn't get it at the combine. There's 10 more questions I really want answered. So is he a second-round pick or is he a third-round pick for me? Because I don't know that answer. But most of them are because we're strongly considering making you a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah, we want to get to know you even a little bit more. We want to have you come into the building. You can spend the entire day with the guy.
Entire day, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you see them picked up from the airport to the time you drop them off, meals, walking around the facility, how are they whenever things aren't scripted in a 15-minute sit-down. There's a lot of value to it. And, folks, a little trick of the trade, too, is when free agency rolls around, look who they brought in 4 years ago, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that makes a lot of sense because they've kept their eye on those players maybe a smidge
We know a
more
little
than
bit
the
more
others.
about that guy because we
Yeah.
did all of our research on him. We had him in for a visit. We know.
And he went to the Ravens and we played against him
We
twice
couldn't
a
get him
year.
in the draft
Right.
because they picked him before we could, but now we can get him.
Like, I don't remember if Patrick Queen was a visit or not, but, a guy like that would make a ton of sense. We still monitored him extremely closely. Couldn't wait to get your hands on him,
Yeah.
So you get other opportunities if you don't give him the first time around.
Yeah. It's been a fun week here, Matt.
It has,
and, I always enjoy this. It's always kind of sad when it's over, but I'm ready to get home.
Yeah, I'm ready to get home, too. There's
Absolutely.
no question.
But we hang out a lot, hanging out with Gerard and Emil and all the guys down here, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of work.
But, yeah, beats digging a ditch for a living.
It sure does do that.
Yeah.
Any other takeaways from the week?
The rule changes don't blow my doors off. They're not massive ones, but they are noteworthy. I'm glad we talked through them. I do think a trend that you're seeing is, and we talked about this 2 segments ago, that the bottom certain head coach from the division just walked by, the second of his nature, and had a little something to throw our direction. Coach, you can sit down with us if you want. But the last segment of the week. Oh, he's walking back.
Oh, we don't have an extra mic here today, Coach. Sorry.
Sorry.
Hey, good luck this season.
Maybe you guys in the background might recognize that voice, but
that was John Harbaugh.
He's done battle with the Steelers once or twice.
Quite some time
epic
now.
matchups, right?
Quite some time, and a lot of respect back and forth between.
He was walking back here, and we didn't actually have a mic for him.
Yeah.
Right. I should have just given him mine, right?
Yeah, you could get out of here.
I'll start backing up, right. I'll go to the airport. Can't believe we turned that off.
But that's the kind of thing that makes this a unique situation. Even unlike,
what a way to end the week.
Even unlike the combine, we get a lot of media guys coming on and stuff like that. But all week long here, there's
the combine's a different environment.
Yeah.
We've got so many media guys,
This is more
and
laid
draft
back.
nicks and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Where these are head coaches walking by and owners, and there's. You don't just grab them and throw them down here like we do at the combine. Combine, I'm always searching for people for guests, but that would have been all right.
That would have been a first. I know that.
That would have been a first, right? It's a wasted opportunity by me. I'm like, here, take my headset.
Yeah, you could have told him, John. He was literally coming back.
He was turned right around. Right. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. But
cool way to end the week.
It really is a cool way to end the week, but the week does have to end, and so I guess it's time for that. We've had a lot of fun here. We want to thank Gerard Schaefer for keeping us on the air here, keeping
tolerate us,
keeping everything on the YouTube videos working. We want to thank Justin Miller, who's worked diligently back in Pittsburgh to keep us on the air there as well. I want to thank my partner Matt Williamson, and most of all, I want to thank everybody who listened this week, because without you people, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't be given the opportunity. And we love our listeners. We love the interaction that we get. We love the tweets and retweets and all the stuff, all the feedback that we get from you. You make our jobs easier. You make it more fun. We do appreciate you all. And again, check out the videos on YouTube if you haven't done so. Lots of good Steelers content on there all year round. These guys work really hard on this stuff to come up with new and interesting ways to just present these players to you and allow you to get to know these guys a little bit more. It's part of my job as well on Steelers.com with some of the features that I do there on the backgrounds of some of these players. It's a lot of fun.
We got a lot more stuff coming between now and draft too.
Again, as Matt mentioned, you still have the schedule out coming out here soon. We get the triple takes coming up here. We'll do some more mock drafts with Mike Pursuta as well, and of course, there'll still be some more videos forthcoming here with some of these new Steelers. You get a chance to hear from them as well. But that's going to do it for our coverage here from the NFL Meetings 2024 here at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. We'll be back again hopefully next year doing the same thing. I believe we're also going to be in Florida again.
That's what little birdie's
saying we're going to stay in Florida. Yeah,
switch coasts and not this trend changer. Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. But we'll of course also have our wall-to-wall draft coverage. You'll be able to hear Matt and I talking about the draft the entire time on these very airwaves as the picks are made. But we want to thank everybody for watching this edition of The Drive and listening to, I guess, here on Steelers Nation Radio.